Hello and welcome to Podiatry Practice Mastery. Don here. I am going to talk about, actually this is number 16 out of 20. We're talking about tips from the last AAPPM meeting. If you've never gone to a meeting, you should go. They don't pay me anything for this to say that, but I think it's a great group. Very giving, very willing to teach. And this, out of all of them, if I was going to say out of the 20, what's my number one takeaway? It's this one I'm going to talk about today. Okay, so the issue is, so many of us are in a hurry to get new patients, get more patients, use Google AdWords, do all these types of things to get more new patients in, when many times we have treasures in our actual practice, treasures in our list. And there was just a fabulous lecture by a podiatrist. And I was awestruck how she is actually doing this. And so I'm not going to explain everything, but let me go over the high points of it. The challenge is, how do we get our established patients back in the office on a consistent basis? So how do we get them back in to see us? Because there's going to be other problems that they're going to have. And we have to give them a reason to come back in, and who are those people that we can have a reason to come back in, okay? So that's the thing. And all of this is hidden in our medical record. So in this lecture, there was a very elegant method. So first of all, let me explain. You have to delegate this to kind of one person that's going to do this. And this is old-fashioned phone calls. You might think, I'm going to use an email marketing system. This is what I tend to think about, and I kind of complicate things. Old-fashioned, person on the phone, generating one list per month, and you take the whole month and you dedicate to that one list. Okay, so how does that work? In this system, she put out January to December, okay? And from January to December, you're going to delegate, you're going to have each month be a certain kind of motive, certain focus for your practice, okay? I think there's actually 2 months, like there were 2 months. So let's go. Let's go with I think October was the orthotic recall month. Okay, so what you would do is in October, your office manager, whoever has access to the reports, you would make a report, and everyone in a certain time frame that has got orthotics and that hasn't made a follow-up appointment. So with our EMR, I can see who has got L3000. And who hasn't made an appointment in the last year. If they hadn't, you're going to call them and say, hey, you're going to develop a script for them for each month, and they're going to call up and say, you haven't seen us for a year. We want to see how your orthotics are doing. Everything else is good. We would recommend a yearly visit to look at your orthotics if that hasn't already been made, and you can go back and it'll drum up business this way. So actually, patient calling. If you don't have ability, I'm going to be talking about this a little bit, or I think I already talked about it. That'll actually be the next one, would be using a Filipino person to answer the phone. So finding not Filipino, but just a person. Sorry if anyone's Filipino listening. Finding a virtual person to just make these phone calls, okay? But or one of your staff. So that's for orthotics. Also for comprehensive diabetic foot exams. So comprehensive diabetic foot exam, that's going to be, pick another month. Could be January, February. Actually, maybe not, because those older people, and anyway, in Massachusetts, they don't like to go out in the winter. They kind of cancel their appointments. But figure out a month and call all of them up that haven't done a diabetic foot exam. They haven't had that in a year or haven't been seen back. Call them and just see how they're doing, and then have them come back in. Another month would be all your surgical patients. Let's say within the last year or something, they haven't been seen back, just to see how they're doing. Calling all of them, seeing if they need anything. There were a couple. We do the same thing for PAD, for our vascular studies. Those that have got the vascular studies and haven't had them in a year, we have them come back and we do a vascular exam on them. And then you could do it for other types of things. You could do it for AFOs, ankle foot orthotics, as well. You can do that. You could do it on patients that have gotten shockwave, just to make sure that they're doing okay. Doing 1 month, just calling everyone that's gotten shockwave before in the past. You can call everyone that's gotten, like, let's say, laser treatment for their nails, or if you want to do that, whatever you want to kind of focus on, but doing that as a recall. And And what this doctor said is that patients are really appreciative of the phone call, because you're not asking them or telling them to make an appointment. All you're doing is you're just making sure they're doing okay, and making sure everything is going okay with what they were being treated for, and then just suggesting to make an appointment. So I thought that was a great idea. Logistically, how is this going to be done? Let me explain, because this is always the problem I have with these ideas. So what you're going to do is you're going to delegate to either an office manager, okay, and you're going to develop a report, a certain diagnosis code or a procedure code, and they're going to pull a report for a certain time frame. That can be 1 year, that can be 3 years, and that's going to generate a report. In this report, you can do it for people that don't have any appointments scheduled. So do the report, those that don't have any appointments, and this report will be printed, and you give this to a staff person, and they go through and they call all those people, and you give them a little script. So you develop a script, and then then you look at like how many have called it. I know it's going to take work on the end of making the phone calls and stuff like that, but I think that's a good way to get to reactivate these patients. You could also do one for those, let's say, that haven't seen you in like 3 to 5 years. So those that haven't had an appointment in 3 to 5 years, just calling them to see how they're doing, because there's so many patients that we haven't seen, just kind of seeing how they're doing. I think they're appreciative of doing that, seeing if you can help in any way. This really provides value for them. So anyway, that was my number one takeaway. The challenge is setting up a system so it doesn't depend on you, and so that it's done with your staff. I would like to know your feedback if anyone is doing this. Once again, this is my number one favorite, doohickey takeaway for the practice to reactivate your current patients. This is high touch. You've probably done the email blast to all your people, but it's really hard to ignore a phone call. So anyway, that's the thought. I'd love to know what your thoughts are. You can, even if you're like kind of want to be a little bit high tech, you could automate it. I talked to a gentleman, Wakaz, before, and he has this automated thing where you can have an automated recorded message that they would listen to if you want to kind of make it a little bit high tech. But anyway, let me know your thoughts are. You can email me, Don at podiatrypracticemastery.com. Once again, go to Podiatry Practice Mastery. Have all the stuff there on there. You can look at things, learn things. It's kind of boring doing this by myself. So if you like this, let me know. Like, subscribe on iTunes and wherever you're listening to this on. Subscribe and like it and put a review, because I don't know if anyone's liking this, but I know that people are listening. I just don't know if anyone likes it. It's kind of lonely doing this alone. So please let me know your thoughts. Okay, thanks guys.